People often look around at the pain and the chaos in the world, and they ask the question, if God is so good, and if God is all-powerful, why does He allow it all to continue? Why doesn't He just step in and put an end to it all? Throughout the Scriptures, even very godly people ask similar questions. We ourselves often ask that question. But maybe we should be asking a different question. Maybe we should be asking, why does humanity continue to reject God? Why does humanity continue to refuse to allow God to lovingly guide their lives? When will people wake up and see that trying to be our own God isn't working very well? Throughout the history of the kings of Israel and Judah, the Lord shows us over and over in a very tangible way that when the leaders of His people seek the Lord and lead them in His ways, there's peace. But when the leaders do what is right in their own eyes, they lead the people astray and there's chaos. We see a lot more of that chaos in today's reading from 2 Chronicles 21 to 24. Chapter 21, the godly king Jehoshaphat dies and his son Jehoram becomes king. And let's just say it wasn't exactly a case of like father, like son. It says that he did evil in the sight of the Lord. He walked in the ways not of his father Jehoshaphat, but in the ways of the kings of Israel, like King Ahab had done. It says that the first thing Jehoram does as king is to have all of his brothers killed, so that he alone would have right to the throne. The Lord sends Elijah the prophet to him to tell him that because of his idolatry and because of his violence against his own family, his sons are going to be carried away by a foreign army, and Jehoram himself is going to die of a terrible sickness. And that's exactly what happened. The Philistines and the Arabs invade, and all of Jehoram's sons were carried away, except for Ahaziah. And Jehoram himself died of a terrible sickness, just like the prophet said he would. Chapter 22, Ahaziah becomes king. And in this case, it was a matter of like father, like son. He was just as wicked as his dad had been. He makes a foolish alliance with the king of Israel, the son of Ahab. And when the Lord raises up Jehu to execute judgment on the household of Ahab, he kills Ahaziah as well. And things just keep getting worse. You would think now that Ahaziah's mother, Athaliah, would be proud that one of her grandsons is going to become the king of Judah. But even grandma was wicked, and she has all of her grandsons killed so that she can sit on the throne as queen. But as she was doing that, the daughter of Ahaziah hides the youngest of his children, baby Joash, and they keep him safely hidden in the temple for 6 years under the care of Jehoiada the priest. When Joash is 7 years old, Jehoiada gathers Levites from all over Judah, and they proclaim that Joash is king. And they grab Queen Athaliah and they put her to death. Jehoiada reinstitutes proper worship in the temple, and he leads the people to renew their covenant, to love and to serve and worship the Lord alone. And there was peace in the land. Chapter 24 begins with the description of the reign of Joash. It says he did what was right in the sight of the Lord all the days of Jehoiada the priest. But then Jehoiada dies. And some of the leaders of Judah come to King Joash and they convince him to abandon worship of the Lord in the temple and to serve idols instead. And it says because of that, great wrath came upon Israel. The Lord sent them prophets to call them to return to Him, but the people don't listen. And then the Spirit of the Lord comes upon Zechariah, the son of Jehoiada, and he rebukes the people for rejecting the Lord. And then listen to what happened. King Joash has him stoned to death. The very son of the man who had raised Joash as a father and had led him in the ways of the Lord, he has him killed for speaking the word of the Lord. The Lord brings the Arameans against Judah in response, and then Joash is murdered in his own bed by his very own servants. That's continued to be the story of human history. People continue to reject God. The world continues to be in chaos, and experience continues to prove that life was only meant to work when we walk in God's ways and when we trust God alone to be God.